Hey guys, once again, welcome guys. The 19th of March. It's Independence Weekend, the Independence on Sunday for Namibia. It's turning 31 years. So today I want to talk about resettlement farms and why so many fail. Resettlement farms and the resettlement policy in Namibia has been a hotbed of debate in parliament, in political spaces, in traditional spaces, even in everyday life. Because we always complain. People always complain. We feel like we're left out. I remember when I was still working on radio, I interviewed, I think the PRO officer of the Ministry of Lands, when it was just Ministry of Lands, but now it's now joined with the Ministry of Agriculture, so it's become Ministry of Agriculture and Lands. When I interviewed him and asked him, so what are the policies? How do you guys go about this? He said, look, Mitchell, it's almost similar to applying for a job. You know, it's almost like applying for a vacancy. When they put out a vacancy in the newspaper, hundreds upon hundreds of people are going to apply. So we have to use the elimination policy. Fine, I agreed with it. I let it be. And then when the ministry got reshuffled and was joined with agriculture, we had the minister himself, Honorable Schledwein, I believe it was last year, who came out. I think was it on Twitter or it was in the publication. I don't remember, but he came out and he said that. He got information that people at the ministry, at lands, are calling, when it comes to the resettlement policy, would always call people behind closed doors and tell them, listen, just pay me 100 to 200,000 and you will get this farm, or 300,000. And Mr. Schledwein said he encourages those individuals who have experienced such to go and report to the police, open up a case, and go open up cases at the Anti-Corruption Commission. But it didn't go further than that. We're still waiting. I haven't had any internal investigations or investigations happening into that. But let's talk about it. Why has it failed? Why has resettlement, which was meant to correct the wrongs of the past, failed? There are a lot of reasons. The first one I can point out is malpractice. You know, for example, malpractice as, you know, maybe let's say, let me use myself as an example. I am only applying for a resettlement farm because I want to probably lease it out. I don't want to farm it. I just want to lease it out, or probably I want to use it as collateral to apply for a loan. Before the laws changed and they said you can't use resettlement farmland as collateral for loans. But I wanna get this resettlement farm. So I have the capital to pay a bribe and I get this farm. So that's malpractice. I've obtained this farm. I'm not saying that I have a farm. I'm just giving an example. I've obtained this farm. I probably have no interest in farming. I just wanted to get this because I know Agribank is giving me $1 million loan once I get this farm. And they're giving you this $1 million loan to say, okay, Mitchell, here's $1 million. Use this to start up your agricultural business. I get this $1 million. What do? I probably go buy land in Windhoek. I build a beautiful house. I buy expensive cars. I buy myself a good V8 Land Cruiser. Rather than taking that million and investing it in my farming, I'm investing it in myself. And so by the time now I have to go, oh man, I actually got a farm and I have to go look at my farm. There's so many things that I need to do, and now I'm sitting there and Agribank is coming and being like, gentlemen, we gave you a loan 5 years ago. I think it's time for you to start paying it back, and I'm unable to pay this loan back. So I'm sitting there and I'm confused now, I'm sweating. That's what sometimes happens, you know, this resettlement policy. I've seen some people obtain resettlement farms not to go onto the farms themselves. They actually get the farms to lease them out. They lease them out to people. I think the only thing some of these guys do is that they fly down or they drive down to their farms. If the farm is in Khubabas, up in the Otavi area, wherever it is, even in the Rundu area, all they do is just go, a kudu, load, give the intestines to the employees, and they head back to Windhoek, wherever they stay, and they never really go to this farm. All they do is that they are leasing it out. But if we sit down and talk of the resettlement policy, if we had to say today or tomorrow morning I wake up and I made the Minister of Lands and they're telling me, okay, Mitchell, your responsibility is to fix the resettlement policy, how would you go about it? The first thing I would do is I would go back and revisit our policies, how we go about it. Of course, I would love to look at things like, how am I resettling people? The people that are being resettled on these farms, are they really being held accountable? Are people being held accountable in terms of, we put Mitchell on this farm in 2010. It's 11 years back. 2010, I think it's 11 years back. He's been on this farm for 11 years. Let's go and go see what he has done on this farm. Has he really kept up his end of the deal by really delivering on this farm? Or has he just moved on to this farm and did what most do? Either he just got the farm, he doesn't stay on it, he leases it out, or he stays there. All he has done, him and his friends, all he has done on that farm is stripping it. Because we've seen a lot of resettlement farms, as soon as the people are put onto that farms, the first thing people do, they strip. They break down everything, they steal, they destroy the houses, they do whatever they want to. And if it was a farm that had fruits on it, the first thing you'd see is that some of them start chopping down those trees and turning them into what do you call this? Into firewood. So holding people accountable is one of the first things that I would implement. I would make sure that the people who are being resettled, or whatever farm and wherever it is, they are being held accountable. And I would always come and make sure that, hey, Mitchell, you said that we resettled you in 2010. It's been 11 years. Let us go to your farm. Let us see what you are doing. And when you fail, we would sit down and have a meeting with you and see, why are you failing? Why are you finding it difficult? Do you still need more finances? Or what did you use your previous finances that you're given to do your agricultural project for? What is going on? Where's the problem? Where's the problem? Where's the failure here? So at least when we have such conversations, we know how, and we know what and how to work. We know how to work and how to go about it, so we can take this journey along. Another thing that I've also noticed is, when we take people, from example, I come from a communal area, the northern communal area, which of the Zambezi region, and I'm being given a resettlement farm, there needs to be that mentorship that happens. Because as I've always said, I always make an example using sports. I always use football in this case. I would say, when you come into a resettlement farm, it's like coming from your community league and going straight into your Premier League. So that gap between these two, you need to obtain training, of course, attending training courses, getting mentorship from established commercial or stud farmers who can assist you, so you can, when you get onto this farm, you don't go in there and go make a disaster, but you actually are being taught, you are being prepared. So mentorship is very important, and I think the Ministry of Lands has to look at that people are mentored. Or when you're resettling, I know what the ministry does when they resettle one big farm. Let's say the farm is 3,000 hectares. They'd usually cut it into 3 units. Well, what the best thing the ministry could do, or if I was the minister, I would have said, okay, on this 3 units, we make sure we resettle an experienced farmer who probably has 10 to 12 years commercially farming. We resettle a small holding farmer who's probably coming from a communal area, who wants to farm on a commercial level now, and we resettle a person who has agricultural knowledge, who studied agriculture. Let's put them there. Let's foster a relationship between these 3 individuals, and maybe the relationship can be can be beneficial for all of them, because they're all helping each other. The experienced commercial farmer can help the guy who studied in the communal land, in the small holding farmer who's on that land, actually switch their farming into larger commercial level style of farming. And the educated guy can help. The educated guy can help them with probably better ways of doing their farming. And the communal land guy, probably there's wildlife, predators, hyenas, jackals on that farm. Probably he can help them because he comes from such an area. He is farmed in an area where lions probably exist, and he had to figure out a way how to walk around this issue of predatization. So that's how I would have gone about it, that these 3 guys are able to mentor each other, and mentorship and training is very important. So when we put these guys on the land, they are capable of getting onto that land and doing something good on it. That's how I'm fixing it. Another thing that I would love to do if I was put in charge of this resettlement policy would also be to hold people accountable. Creating an agency within the Ministry of Lands that goes and inspects farms to make sure that when Mitchell got this farm in 2011, he really is farming commercially on that farm. He didn't just get the farm and destroy the farm. Because it does happen. People get farms and destroy them. Some of them get farms when there are kudus or when there's wildlife on that farm. The first thing they do is go to Agra and go buy a brand new gun with a telescope and a silencer. And what they will do is some of them would spend a whole 2, 3, 4 months or a year just hunting and shooting out all the wildlife out of that farm. So by the time 2011 comes around, 2021 comes around, that farm where there were kudus and oryx and a herd of oryx and different bucks don't exist anymore. They have been hunted out. The guy shot everything. So we need to as the Minister of Lands and Agriculture, I would have made sure that we're keeping the check and balances. We're keeping the check and balances on these guys, making sure that we hold them accountable for everything that happens on that farm. And if they do not follow what they agreed to, we should also be willing to be heartless and be the devil's advocate. And when I say the devil's advocate, we need to be able to say, Wena, Iwe, we gave you this farm, you messed up. So what we're going to do now is, we're giving you maybe this whole year, this whole 2021, to get your things and move out of the farm. If you can't move cattle, we'll buy the cattle from you. But we want you out of this farm. We need to be able to do that. We should stop being scared. We need to grow the rocks, the lever. We need to grow the lever to be able to do this. So our people know that when they are being given this resettlement farm, it's not a God-given right. It's a privilege, and it's an opportunity they are being given. It's an opportunity that as much as it was given to you, it can be taken away. So I believe once people understand that, can we actually start fixing this resettlement issue? Can we start fixing the resettlement that is going on? Another issue that I also want to put it down is this. I always tell people, every time I have conversation, even with my own family, I have a printer here where I print sometimes, a printer that does color and black and white and laser printing and also scans documents. And they would always ask me to print for them. And I would tell them, it's not a problem, I can print for you. What do you want, color or black? And then they're like, no, I want a black print, I want 2 or I want 7. And I say, okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. It's $7. They get shocked. You want me to pay? Why should I pay? And I'm like, guys, it's business. It's just business. It has nothing to do between our relationships, our blood relations. If you're my brother, you're my friend, or you're my best friend, it's nothing to do with that. That is how we have to start looking at resettlement farms. It is nothing personal. It has nothing to do with what political party you vote for or what traditional house you belong to. It is business. Business does not understand that. Business understands business. It's as simple as that. So, me saying that is this. If people are, let's say a resettlement comes out now in the Hobabus area, people apply. And you know, people apply from various regions. If a guy from the Zambezi or a guy from the Kavango or the guy from not the Omaheke is successful, can we stop making it an issue of why is it that a man from the south or the man from the Zambezi or the man from the Kunene got this farm and the people from Maheke didn't get? Why should we make it an issue from where you are? Isn't it that we have to sit down and say, okay, this guy got the farm. Maybe he's the best recipient. Maybe he's going to get onto that farm and do the best job that can be. Me as a person from that region who didn't get the farm can probably get close to him and learn from him. Maybe there are skills and knowledge and finances he's going to come spend here that probably I do not have. Rather than just sitting down and saying, hey, they brought another one from the north. He's again, these people are corrupt. Sometimes we need to lose that, guys. It's why I use the story of my printer. That I tell people that, and I always tell my siblings that, rather than complaining about me making them pay for the printer, they should be sitting there and asking themselves, why are we paying for his printer? It could be that money that we are paying is paying for the ink and the paper. And it's the same thing with being resettled. If I get resettled today in the Omaheke, for example, I get a farm in the Omaheke by a resettlement process, sometimes it's not that, maybe he has political connections. His father is most friends with the minister, this guy. This is why I got this land. Sometimes I was just the best at it. I gave the best application, I stated my reasons, and I got this farm. And sometimes we should give, in other words, I think the long and short version I'm trying to say, we should give people the benefit of the doubt. Probably what he's going to come and do on that farm will take that farm from what it is to higher heights. Yes, if he's failing, if he's destroying the farm, then you guys, then we have every right to complain. But if this person is coming onto that farm, starting a piggery, starting a chicken farm, starting a cattle farm, starting a goat farm, starting a small stock farm, and is successful, let's sit down and learn. Let's put aside our racial, our tribal, our gender roles, and actually learn from each other. That's one way that I would have fixed it. That's how I would have been, if I was the Minister of Agriculture and Lands, that's how I would start trying to correct this ship. And also another thing that I want to do is, another thing that I would really do that I believe needs to be done is reducing this leasing periods. 99-year lease? Why? Why 99 years? For what? For who? Why? I would reduce it and say every 5 years. After every 5 years, we renew it. The same way as the contract where I was working, where I'm employed is, every 5 years. And it's a performance-based contract. After every 5 years, we sit down, we review your contract, we looked at what you have done. Have you been able to achieve it? Have you been able to do what you said you were going to do? If yes, give him an extension. If no, my brother, my sister, we probably have to take you off the land. Because we need, and this is what I'm saying with this resettlement process, that if I was there, I would have been very ruthless. I would have not been friendly. Because on the end of the day, as I'm saying this, the government is spending millions upon millions, sorry about that, millions upon millions, purchasing land, resettlement, purchasing land, farms, particularly from willing sellers of willing commercial sellers of farms. They're purchasing land. And now that we are purchasing this land, we are giving it to people, and we're allowing people to go into this land and probably destroy, once upon a time, a thriving beef cattle farm, a thriving horticulture farm, a thriving orchard, a thriving citric plantation, a thriving apple plantation, a thriving garlic plantation, or a thriving flower farm. And now we are giving it to people just to go there and destroy it, which I think is actually it comes back to the government. I think they have been lenient. I think what I'm pointing out is I would hold people accountable, and people would have to account for what they're doing. Another reason why this thing failed, guys, is that we all know this. Agriculture is one of the most expensive businesses. When you're doing it small scale, probably in your village somewhere, where you're not paying a lot of things, probably you're just paying your work and you're buying your medication, you don't really feel that pinch of expenses. It's when you own a farm, where your fences are being destroyed. For example, you are farming, as a friend who called me, or a friend who sent me a message via the inbox, told me he has a commercial holding there in the Rundu area that was set aside by the Ministry of Agriculture and Lands. And his biggest problem are elephants. The elephants come destroy his fences and his water points. And he's spending thousands upon thousands repairing these things that the elephants are destroying. And those are things that you have to do, unfortunately, because you're farming. This is why I tell people that when you're on the communal area, you don't really feel that pinch, that financial pinch. It's when you go into a commercial farm, like this friend of mine who's farming in an area where there are elephants that are roaming around, destroying all these things, and the money has to come out of his pocket. So finances are important. Finances are important in farming. And I always tell people, agriculture is an expensive business. It looks fun, it looks interesting, it looks simple. People think it's as simple as just putting a seed in the ground and boom, an apple grows. There's a lot that needs to go into the production of this apple before that apple comes out of the ground. There's the fertilizers, there's the pruning, there's the preparation, there's all these things. And most of these things, when you're doing all these preparations and so forth, you would need to take money out of your pocket to invest into this business to make sure that whatever these things are that you're preparing will be successful. So finances are a thing, but now that's a story of the olden day, because now Agribank has come on board and is offering the $1 million loan, like I said. So those are some of the things, guys, that I would have done if I was the Minister of Agriculture and Lands. This is how I would have tried and fixed the resettlement policy. As I said, I wouldn't make it about race. I wouldn't make it about ethnicity. I wouldn't make it about which royal house and what language you speak. I would make it about who is the best individual that we can put there, and we'd hammer away on training and mentorship, which is very important for these people. And also, I would encourage individuals that get this land to get mentors, people to mentor them. Experienced commercial farmers that can help them, take their hand and walk with them this journey, so they're able to in future be experts. But as the same way they were mentored by someone, that they also mentor other people moving forward. That is my 2 cents, guys. Have yourself a good Independence weekend. Stay safe, don't drink and drive, and always remember to social distance and wear your mask. And now this is bye for now.